Hey y'all, Barry Bailey here, your active stretching instructor and coach. In this video, I will demonstrate an active stretch that targets the muscles on the side of your body, from your head all the way down to your toes on each side, one side at a time. Unlike most of the stretches we do with active stretching, this stretch does not target a specific muscle or a specific muscle group. Instead, it focuses on the entire side of your body, starting with your neck, then your shoulders, then your torso, your hip, your upper leg, lower leg, and then all the way down to your ankle. Instead, this stretch works by starting small and then gradually increasing farther and farther and farther the different muscles that are incorporated into the final stretch. I call this the progressive lateral stretch because as we do the stretch, we do 5 different variations, and with each variation, we progress to a greater, more powerful stretch than the previous stretch, so that by the end, after we've started at the top of the body, working all the way down to the ankle, with our final stretch, we have a very powerful but very safe stretch to do, and a very effective stretch that if we started out with that, we might hurt ourselves, and we don't want to do that. When we do this stretch in my active stretching class, we have already targeted some of the muscles that begin this stretch, particularly the neck and shoulder muscles. We've already done targeted muscle stretches for those. So they have already been worked. So that's another reason why, if you're doing this stretch in isolation, in other words, not doing it with other stretches, it's very important to start with a very simple stretch and then work up to the more powerful stretches at the end. This stretch is also very versatile. It's very good for pain in your neck, your shoulders, your torso, your hip, your leg, and best of all, it's really good for stretching your iliotibial band, your IT band. As I've said, the stretch has 5 different variations, and I'll demonstrate each one of those variations for you, as well as show you the muscles that are involved with that particular variation of the stretch as we move down the body. I'm taking the time to show you the different muscles because I very strongly believe that if you understand and can visualize the muscles that you're actually targeting with the stretch, your stretch is going to be much better because your brain is going to be able to connect better with that muscle. In other words, you get a really powerful, strong mind-body connection. So remember, we're targeting one side of the body, but we're moving down the body with different variations of that stretch. The first stretch variation primarily focuses on the neck. One of the muscles we are stretching are what are known as the lateral flexors. These are the muscles on the side of your neck that take your head to the side. So if we're going to stretch that, we're going to go to the other side. So that's the lateral neck stretchers. The second area that this first stretch addresses is your upper trapezius. But the upper trapezius attaches here on your end of your shoulder, comes up and attaches up here. So it's one of the muscles that take your shoulder up like this. So if we take our head away from this connection, we are stretching across here. An additional muscle that we stretch is the levator scapula. The levator scapula attaches here at the base of your skull. It comes down your neck, attaches to the top edge of your scapula, your shoulder blade, and it is a muscle that shrugs your shoulders. And finally, another muscle in your neck that it specifically also stretches is the sternocleidomastoid. The sternocleidomastoid attaches up here, comes down here, and attaches to your clavicle and your sternum. So it's the sternocleidomastoid muscle. And it's the muscle that both muscles together take your head straight down. But the one on the side is going to take your head this way. So if we stretch our head this way, we're going to stretch the sternocleidomastoid, one of my favorite muscles to say. So to demonstrate the first variation of the progressive lateral stretch. Stand with your feet a little more than shoulder width apart. Legs are straight, knees are locked, hands start on your thighs. I'm just going to exhale and take my head left, ear towards the floor, keeping my head facing straight forward. So I'm going to do an exhale, stretch my neck, slide down my thigh with my left hand, and then back up again. What you want to be sure of is that this right shoulder stays down, that you don't do this. Because if you do that, you're not stretching these muscles at all. You're just taking them in the same position that they were in neutral, which is standing here like this. So you want to take your head, exhale down, keep that shoulder, that right shoulder down. And actually, if you can depress that shoulder as well, that's another thing to think about. If you can actually depress that shoulder, you will get an even better stretch. But the important thing is that you don't bring that shoulder up, because then you're not getting any benefit from the stretch. So it looks like this. We're going to hold just 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds as we finish the stretch. So it's exhale down, hold, and inhale up. And we'll repeat it again. And in class, we do about 4 repetitions of this, and I'm going to only show you a few repetitions right now. And that's the first variation. It primarily targets the neck and shoulder muscles. The second stretch variation moves the stretch down to your lower torso and into your hip. And with that, we are addressing primarily the quadratus lumborum. Quadratus lumborum attaches on the top of your pelvis ridge and the bottom of your rib cage. It's a square-shaped muscle, which is why it's called quadratus. Quadratus meaning 4. It's a 4-sided muscle, a broad muscle, and basically it's a hip hiker. It's the muscle that brings your hip up like this. So if we lean away from that, we're stretching that muscle. That's the quadratus lumborum. Another muscle that is stretched is the tensor fasciolata, and below that becomes the IT band, so it's attaching here at the top of your hip. This is the tensor fasciolata attachment. It's about that long. The tensor fasciolata then evolves into the IT band, the iliotibial band, which attaches now down on below your knee, on the outside of your knee, on your upper lower leg. So by leaning away from this side that we're stretching, we're putting a stretch on this iliotibial band. The other muscles that we're stretching are the gluteus minimus and medius. These are muscles that attach right here on the side of our hip, and they are part of the muscles that stabilize our hip and also help to take our leg out to the side. So the second version of this stretch, remember the first version, both feet were planted firmly on the ground, and I did an ear to shoulder or ear to floor kind of stretch for the neck and shoulders. Now I'm going to do that same stretch, but I'm going to shift my weight to the side that I'm stretching. So in this case, my right leg is going to take my weight, and I'm going to come up on my toes on my left leg. What that does is it tips my pelvis in such a way that I get a better stretch over this outside of my hip and thigh. So it looks like this. So I'm coming up on my left foot as high as I can come. I'm pushing my hip out to the side as far as I can so that I get a good stretch over the outside of my right hip, the side that I'm stretching. The third stretch variation of the progressive lateral stretch targets primarily the muscles here on the side of your torso or your trunk. A group of muscles that you're stretching are the intercostals. The intercostal muscles are muscles that are in between your individual ribs, and they hold your ribs together and they assist with movement of your torso. So we're going to stretch those out. We're also going to stretch the oblique muscles that are around our waist here. Those are the muscles that take us in this direction, back and forth. So we have external oblique muscles that go in one direction, and then internal oblique muscles that go in the opposite direction. So they crisscross each other here on our side, and that allows us to do this. The other muscles that we're going to stretch with this third variation are the spinal muscles, and there are a great many different little and large spinal muscles. I'm not going to go into all of those, but basically there are tiny little muscles that connect each vertebrae to each vertebrae, so that if we bend our body, we're going to stretch. In this case, again, I'm stretching my right side. We're going to stretch those intervertebrae muscles on the right side. We also have muscles that go all the way from our neck down to the top of our pelvis. And we have a series of those. Those primarily do back extension, in other words, taking our back like so. But because they are connected to the ribs, and the rib cage is going to open up as we bend over to the left, those muscles are also going to be stretched. So the third variation, the last one, we've shifted our weight, we've come up on our toes, we've kept this shoulder down tight to our side. This next variation, we're going to do the same thing, except this time we're going to bring our hand up and touch lightly onto our head, so that we're taking our elbow up to the ceiling, almost like we're trying to touch our elbow on the ceiling. Don't put any pressure on your head. Touch very lightly. All of the pressure should be up and away from your shoulder joint. So it looks like this. Exhale, hand goes up, elbow goes up, hold, and inhale back to neutral. My hip is going out to the side. My left foot is raising up on its toes. So I'm taking my elbow up to the ceiling. And that's the third variation of the progressive lateral stretch. The fourth stretch variation now incorporates the pectoralis major muscle. Pectoralis major muscle attaches here on the inside of your upper arm. It comes up here to your collarbone. It comes across to your breastbone, and it comes down here to your lower ribs. So again, like I mentioned previously with the hip muscles, those muscles fibers fan out like the spokes of a wheel or of a fan. So when we're stretching the side of our body, the muscles that go horizontal, which would be these muscles, and also these muscles that come up like here, are not going to get stretched. The muscle fibers that are going to be stretched are the muscles that come down here to the rib. The other muscle that we're going to incorporate with this stretch is the latissimus dorsi, or lats. Your lats attach area and attach here on your spine, from about right here on your spine all the way down to your waist. The latissimus dorsi muscle takes your shoulder back and down. So we're going to take our arm up and forward from its neutral position to stretch that muscle. And finally, a major muscle that we're going to add to this stretch is the infraspinatus. Infraspinatus covers your shoulder blade. It attaches here on your arm. And the infraspinatus that we're talking about right now pulls your arm back like this. It takes your arm back. So to add the fourth variation, we've just done this stretch. We're now going to straighten that right arm and do what I call paint a rainbow with your fingertips. So you're going to exhale, shift your weight, bring your hand out, up, over, and pause at the end. So you're doing a gigantic sweep with your hand as far out from your shoulder as you can bring your fingertips. The farther out you stretch from your shoulder joint, the more stretch you're going to get. The more you push your hip out to the side, the greater stretch you're going to get. So it's exhale, paint a rainbow, hold, and inhale back to neutral. And that's the fourth variation. And the fifth variation is exactly what we just did, except we're going to give it an assist with our other hand. So we're going to do that same stretch. I'm going to shift my weight to this side, up on my toes on this side, and bring my arm out, up, and over but this time I'm going to grab my fingertips with my other hand and pull down as I push my hip out to the side. So it looks like this. And that's the progressive lateral stretch. It's a very powerful stretch, and that last stretch, as I said earlier, is very powerful. It's not the one you want to start with. You want to start with the easy ones, work up to this so that you don't hurt yourself, because that's not the purpose of doing this stretching. You don't want to do it to hurt yourself. You don't want to injure yourself. You want to stay safe, so do it gradually. Don't force your body to do something it's not ready to do. Prepare your body for this final stretch. So now let me show you this stretch in all of its sequences together. I'm only going to do 3 repetitions of each stretch. In class we do 4 repetitions, but I'm going to do just to save time. And for this, I'd like to invite you to join me doing this stretch. And because I like to have people start with their right side, I'm going to start with my left side so that you can do it mirror image with me. So we're starting with and I'll talk you through it so that you understand what we're doing and you're reminded what we're doing. So stand with your feet a little more than shoulder width apart. Knees are locked with your legs straight, hands on your thighs. Exhale, slide down your left thigh, hold, and inhale up. And repeat. Exhale down, hold, and inhale up. And now shift your weight to the side you're stretching. Come up on your toes on the side you're stretching down. Push your hip out to the side as far as you can. Exhale down, hold, and inhale up. 1 more of these. And then bring your fingertips up to your head lightly. Take your elbow up to the ceiling. Push out to the side and back to neutral. Exhale, hold, and inhale. And then straighten your arm and paint a rainbow with your fingertips. Reach out, up, over, pause at the end, and repeat that. Really push that hip out to the side. And 1 more. And now add the assist. Paint a rainbow, assist at the end, and hold. Be sure that you're holding. If you don't hold, it becomes an aerobic exercise. But this is supposed to be a stretch, not an aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise doesn't stretch you. And hold. And that's one side. Catch your breath and do the second side. Same thing happens. Exhale, slide down the other thigh, hold 1.5 seconds, and inhale up. And repeat. Exhale down, hold, and inhale up. A 3rd repetition. And now shift your weight, come up on your toes, hip to the side. Keep your head facing straight forward. And bring your other hand up, touch your head lightly, take your elbow up to the ceiling and hold. And repeat. And straighten that arm, paint a rainbow with your fingertips, pause at the end, and repeat. And again, reach out as far as you can with your fingertips as you go through this stretch. Really give a stretch all the way into your shoulder joint. And then repeat that stretch and assist at the end. And 1 more. And that's the progressive lateral stretch, one of the most important stretches you can do and one of the most versatile stretches. Don't worry about the names of the muscles. That's not important for you. The important thing is I've given you visualizations so that you can hopefully remember what you're stretching, where you're stretching. You don't have to remember the names. That's not important. The important thing is that your brain gets connected with a visualization of what you're doing. That's what's most important and what's going to be most effective for achieving something good from the stretch. So that's one more stretch of the numerous videos that I've presented so far. Some of the muscles that I've mentioned in today's video, I already have specific videos showing how to stretch those muscles. So check out my other videos that are available to you. I have a class that meets using Zoom every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. and each Friday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. And I invite you to contact me if you would like to join that class. Portions of that class are here on YouTube as videos, but the entire class is not there. If you would like to join us live, I invite you to join me. If you want more information about the class, go to my website, click on the link that says classes. On the classes page, you will have the basic information of what you need, and then contact me if you would like to join me for a class. I'd like you also to know that I am available for one-on-one consultations, whether it's for stretching, learning how to stretch, taking care of questions that you have regarding stretches, or also if you have pain in a specific area, neck pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, leg pain, it may very well be something that I can help you with Zoom, through stretching, through self-massage, and through using the technique that I've developed using this stretching that I call STARTEC, which is an acronym for Soft Tissue Active Recovery Technique. Our body wants to be well. We have many ways that we can help our body without taking drugs, without doing surgery, without doing the drastic measures. I encourage you to try stretching and soft tissue active recovery technique before you take the drugs and before you do surgery, and see if that will be helpful for you. If this video was helpful for you, please click the like button, because every time someone clicks like, it helps my channel. Also, if you would like to know about other videos that I have available, click the subscribe button. And if you would like to know when I post a new video, click the bell. And that will notify you then that another video has been added to the roster of my YouTube videos. So thank you again for watching. I'm Barry Bailey, your active stretching instructor and coach. And please join me again for the next videos and check out the other videos that are on my channel here. And keep stretching.